The accident? It's probably karma, you know, because of the bad stuff you do all the time. I'm going to enjoy the trip with Mom.
Exactly. Traveling takes priority over you guys. My father-in-law and I had an accident on our trip. Turns out, my husband and mother-in-law decided to continue their trip without us. I cried tears of frustration, while my father-in-law sat deep in thought beside me. By that time, he seemed to already have an idea in mind. Shocked by what he suggested, I thought to myself, I want to take this chance to vent all my pent-up frustration. I felt a surge of emotion. He has set the stage for the perfect revenge. My name is Katie Miller, 29 years old. I married Jacob a year ago, and now we're living with his parents. His parents, Charlotte, a former kindergarten teacher, and Dexter, a businessman, clearly doted on him a lot. You could tell, just by looking at him, how much his parents had spoiled him. When I first went to their house to introduce myself, Dexter greeted me with a smile and said,
I'm so happy that someone as cheerful and wonderful as you is marrying Jacob.
I blushed at his words. Oh, that's very kind of you to say. I'm flattered. Thank you.
My son might be a bit unreliable, but please, bear with him. If anything happens, feel free to talk to me.
Thank you. That means a lot. He was so friendly that I couldn't help smiling. But on the other hand, Charlotte didn't seem to like me much. On my first day living with them, I quickly saw her true colors. When I rang the doorbell of their house, she appeared with a cold expression. Good morning, I greeted her, but she snapped back. So, you actually came. I wish this whole living together thing had fallen through. Charlotte. Don't call me by my first name. I have no intention of being your family, even in-law. What? Don't get the wrong idea, young lady. I only said okay because Jacob brought you here. I don't accept a plain, unremarkable girl like you as my daughter-in-law. But I thought today would be the start of a happy married life. But reality was the exact opposite. From that day on, I was treated like a maid by her. When Jacob and Dexter went to work, Charlotte's harassment would begin. Katie, what was that for breakfast today? What do you mean? That soup. How could you make something so tasteless? Did you even use the right stock? Yes, I made it exactly as you told me to. Then, why did it taste so bland? Must be your poor cooking skills. I'm sorry. Instead of apologizing, why don't you practice cooking? Though I won't taste it since it'll probably be awful. I was criticized every day for my cooking, being told it was inedible. And it didn't stop there. If I hung laundry, I'd hear, there are wrinkles, or wash it again. And when I cleaned, it was, there's still dust, or aren't you paying attention? Even a short break was met with, how dare you rest? You're just a wife. I had agreed to live with Jacob's parents early in our marriage because he wanted to support them. But why did it have to be this hard? After about 6 months of this, I reached my limit and decided to talk to my husband. One night, as we lay in bed, I cautiously broached the topic. Hey, Jacob, is there any way we can stop living with your parents?
Huh? Why bring this up all of a sudden? You agreed to this living arrangement, remember?
Yeah, but when I'm home alone with your mom, she complains about everything.
Complains? My mom?
He laughed it off as if it were a joke and looked at me questioningly. To convey how I felt, I honestly told him everything. From the taste of breakfast to cleaning and laundry, she complains about everything.
No way. My mom doing something like harassing you?
Really? It's true. Believe me. It's been so hard for me every day.
Enough. My mom used to be a kindergarten teacher. She's known for being kind in our neighborhood. She would never do something like that.
But she really...
I'm disappointed in you. I can't believe you speak so badly of my mom.
He became irritated, as if he was the one wronged. After that, I tried to talk to him a few more times, but he never responded. That's when I realized he would always believe his mother over his wife. Maybe he's what you'd call a mama's boy. It's hard to say for sure, but it sure felt like it. Every time Charlotte harassed me, I'd talk to him about it. But he never took me seriously, just brushing me off. Nothing changed, and my heart grew more and more weary each day. A year into our marriage, Jacob's attitude hasn't changed. In fact, he started joining his mom and putting me down.
Listen, you're practically a maid here. You don't work, so remember, it's because of me that you have a roof over your head. Don't forget that.
A maid? If that's how it is, I'll get a job too.
As if you working would bring in any real money. Just stay quiet and take care of the house.
Why are you being like this? I quit my job and moved in with your parents because you asked me to.
Don't blame me. You working would just be a burden to the company. I told you that for the company's sake.
That's so unfair.
Learn from my mom and become a decent wife.
I was devastated by my own husband's coldness. Charlotte watched me with a smirk. Then one day, something happened. Dexter, who had the day off, seemed in a good mood from the morning. He went out in the morning and came back around noon, looking pleased. Out of the blue, he approached me.
Katie, can I talk to you?
What is it?
How about going on a trip next month?
You mean just you and me? I blurted that out without thinking, and he hurriedly corrected me.
No, the whole family. All four of us. You'll have your own room. What do you think?
I get my own room?
Yeah, you've seemed tired lately. So, how about relaxing for 3 days?
Really?
Of course. It might be under the guise of a family trip, so you don't get complaints. But what do you think?
Yes, I love that. I'm so happy. I couldn't believe he was making such an offer. Dexter smiled, looking pleased, as he saw how happy I was. On the day of our trip, a month later, we drove to the destination with Jacob at the wheel. For some reason, Charlotte sat in the front passenger seat, while Dexter and I were in the back. Dexter looked apologetic and said,
Well, I feel bad about this.
But I was actually grateful for the arrangement. While my mother-in-law and husband were having fun in the front, Dexter and I had a good chat in the back. Then, it happened. Suddenly, we were hit by a tremendous impact, and our bodies lurched forward. It seemed a car had crashed into us from behind because of Jacob's sudden braking. As I grasped the situation, I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I found myself in an unfamiliar bed. I have no idea how many hours had passed. Looking around, I saw Dexter in the bed next to me. In the same room, my husband and his mother were busy with their phones, seemingly having fun. Jacob, Charlotte. Hearing my voice, they rushed over, startled, and called the nurse to get a doctor. Fortunately, since the car behind us had slowed down, Dexter and I in the back seat only suffered mild concussions and bruises. As the doctor left the room, Jacob and Charlotte let out huge sighs of relief. Taking advantage of Dexter still being unconscious, Jacob said,
Oh, man. It's all because you fainted that this turned into such a mess.
Exactly. Our whole trip is ruined. But it was because you slammed on the brakes.
Were you trying to blame me? I drove a long way for you.
Right. And on top of that, you just had to tag along on this family trip. How dense can a wife be?
That's not fair. It's all because of karma, you know, the bad stuff you do all the time. I'm going to enjoy the trip with Mom.
Exactly. Traveling takes priority over you guys.
Laughing, they left the hospital room, and the room fell silent except for my sobbing. Trying not to wake Dexter, I cried in frustration. Just as I was about to drift back to sleep, I heard Dexter calling from the next bed. Katie.
Dexter, you're awake. I'll call the doctor.
No need. We both just have mild concussions, right?
How did you know? You were asleep when the doctor came.
I was at first, but I woke up during the doctor's visit.
Then why pretend to be asleep?
Because I overheard. Your husband and Charlotte were treating you poorly.
It seemed he had heard everything about how coldly Jacob and Charlotte had treated me. He pretended to be asleep to hear their true colors, thinking they would make excuses if he woke up. He looked serious as he asked,
Has this been going on for a while?
Yes.
I'm so sorry I didn't notice earlier. It took me too long to help you.
No, it's not your fault. They were just good at hiding it from you.
Still, I should have noticed sooner, living under the same roof. I really don't know what to say.
He sat up in bed, looking genuinely apologetic. Then he said,
I know it's not much, but will you help me with a plan I have?
A plan? What is it?
So, here's the thing.
The plan he shared was astonishing. In that moment, I decided to take revenge on Jacob and Charlotte. Dexter's plan was to demolish the house we were living in. It turned out the house was actually in the name of his father, my grandfather-in-law, not Dexter. His father, now living in a condo with his wife, had given Dexter the house when he got married. The house was getting old, and his father had recently told him to either demolish it or renovate it.
I was planning to renovate it, but no more. I'll demolish the house. I can't forgive them for treating the woman who married into our family like that.
But wouldn't that ruin our family relationship?
It's fine. I've finally seen their true colors. Katie, I know it's late, but allow me to repay you for everything.
Dexter. He took out his phone and called his father. The demolition was arranged, and the work would start the next day. The next day, after being discharged from the hospital, Dexter and I went to his father's house. It seemed our belongings had already been moved to a storage facility. I thanked them and sent my things to my parents' house. Meanwhile, Jacob and Charlotte had enjoyed their trip so much so that they extended it. When they returned to the site of their former home, they were shocked and stood dumbfounded. They were arguing in confusion.
What the heck is this? Mom, why is the house gone?
I have no idea. Do you know anything about this?
How would I know? I just got back with you.
Then why? How can our house just disappear like this? As they bickered, Dexter tapped me on the shoulder. Realizing we were there, Jacob rushed over, flustered, and confronted his father.
Hey, what's going on here? What do you mean? Why is our house gone? It was old and needed to be torn down. Are there any other reasons than that? No, that's not what I meant. Why would you do something like this without asking? That was our home. Our home? Yes, at least Mom and I didn't know anything about this. This is something you did on your own. What have you done?
Dexter remained calm as his son angrily confronted him. He then spoke up quietly.
Did it all by myself? No way. I got permission. What? I don't remember Mom or I giving permission. I got Katie's permission. What? That house was originally in my father's name. You guys don't have a say in it. Wait a minute. Regardless of whose name it's in, why demolish it all of a sudden? Isn't it obvious? I got sick of living with you guys. Sick of living with us? Why?
Before he could say anything more, Dexter glared at him and began to shout furiously.
You think I didn't know? I heard everything you said to Katie at the hospital. Dad, you were awake then? It was by accident, but hearing your true colors was enlightening. It gave me the idea for this plan. What do you mean, plan? You set Mom and me up? Set up? I just took the appropriate action. I'm divorcing your mother too. The rest is up to you.
He pulled out divorce papers and headed towards Charlotte. After Dexter left, Jacob turned his anger on me.
Hey, what's this all about? Why didn't you say anything?
This was your father's decision, not mine.
But you knew about it, right? Then you should have stopped him. I mean, you don't have a place to live either.
A place to live? I'm going back to my parents' home.
Wait, are you planning to divorce me? I won't allow it.
I looked at him coldly as he ranted. Enough. I don't need you to allow it. Why do you think this all happened? It's all because of you and your mother. You have no idea how much I've suffered and put up with your nonsense.
Oh, wait. Calm down. Let's just talk.
I have nothing left to say to you. Don't interfere with my life anymore. Thanks to your father, I'm finally free from you. Good luck living with your beloved mom and fall to the bottom of hell for all I care. I walked away without looking back. Finally, I was free from that life. Later, Jacob and I divorced. Initially, he refused, but under Dexter's supervision, he was forced to sign. Charlotte and Jacob ended up living in a business hotel before moving into an apartment. His salary was consumed by rent and living expenses for the two of them, leading to a drastic change in their lifestyle. As for me, I returned to my parents' house and rejoined my previous company. They welcomed me back, and now I'm focused on my work. I still keep in touch with Dexter. I plan to repay his kindness in any way I can.